against the wall, trying to find a spot. So if it's loud, I do apologize. Like Cass said, my name is Natasha Burningham. I am with the Utah Parent Center. I am the project coordinator over Transition University and PTI, which is the statewide education. I'm going to start off with this poem quote. Embrace what is. Motherhood or fatherhood is about raising and celebrating the child you have, not the child you thought you would have. It's about understanding that they are exactly the person they are supposed to be. Sorry, this one always makes me tear up. Um, these are my two kiddos. Jameson is 11 and Maddie is 10. They are both on the spectrum, very, very different ends of the spectrum. Maddie, very loud, very ADHD, always going a million miles an hour. Jameson, very calm, quiet, meditation, no loud noises. They never touch each other ever. And Maddie had asked for a hug one day and he said yes. So I was like scrambling for my phone. I had to get a picture. So I loved this one. But those are my two kiddos. Okay, we're going to go over some of the books that we offer here at the Utah Parent Center. So we currently have three books in our curriculum. We have our Choices book, our Guardianship, and then the transition, so from youth to adulthood. All these three books are also given in Spanish. Oh, those you can download too. Sorry, you guys. These you can download off of our website if you go to the resource page and then go down to Transition University. Those books, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, they will be down there and you can download those. We're currently in the process of having them redone. So as soon as we get them reprinted, we will absolutely let everybody know. These ones were made more for probably like professional parent side. The ones we're trying to print now are going to be more self-advocate side, so they can also understand and get the information that we're trying to get out to them.
And I will put the links in the chat.
Thank you, Cass. So today we're going to talk about self-advocacy, advocacy, a little bit about the disability rights movement, and then legislative, what's current and what's going to happen in the future. All right, so citizenship and advocacy, the beginning of disability rights. So as of 2021 census, there was about approximately 42.5 million Americans with disabilities. In Utah, there was over 860,000 individuals that are affected by disabilities and special health care needs. Today, individuals with disabilities lead independent, fulfilling lives, defining themselves by their ideas, their beliefs, and their dreams rather than their disabilities. However, this progress has come after centuries of struggle against harmful stereotypes and biases. Historically, people with disabilities faced extreme discrimination. In 1891, Chicago passed ugly laws that banned people from appearing in public if they were diseased, maimed, mutilated, or in any way deformed. Around the same time, there was a theory of social dwarfism, um, promoted the idea that people with disabilities were unfit and should not be allowed to reproduce. This belief led to the segregation of people with disabilities into asylums and institutions, and even forced sterilization. Sorry. Many of these practices were legal and upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. Despite this painful history, the disabled community has fought for and continues to gain recognition and rights, defining themselves beyond their impairments. Today, while challenges remain, significant strides have been made toward equality and inclusion. We don't really have time to go over this just because we're on a time constraint, but if you guys get a chance, please Google the Willowbrook State School and watch the video. Have a box of tissues. It is a tearjerker, but it's a really, really important part of our disability history. This place was located over on Staten Island in New York, and it actually remained open until 1987. So to understand how far we've come, we need to know where we all started. Oh, we're not going to watch the video. We're going to go past it. Okay. So following the Willowbrook expose, many laws and acts were put into effect. So we're going to do a little timeline and talk about some of these. Sorry, oh, I just want to move this over. Sorry, hang on. And it's not letting me. Okay. So, Cass, do you see anything up there? Does it just say the timeline? Okay, so we start with the Willowbrook. Okay, so that brought on the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. From there, we got the Family Medical Leave Act in 1993, then HIPAA Act in 1996, then Rehabilitations Act 503, 504, 508 in 1998, Olmsted in 1999, and then No Child Left Behind Act in 2001, and then the EHA in 1973 and IDEA in 2004. The Career and Technical Education Act in 2006. What's next? That's up to us. We need to make sure that we're still continuing to advocate to get laws to help our special needs community. Okay, let's go into citizenship and advocacy. So the self-advocacy portion of it. Um, I now want to focus on something else that's become more prominent in the disability world since the time at Willowbrook in 1970. So what they kind of did there has really paved the way for our self-advocates, learning to have that voice, speaking for themselves, making sure that they communicate so that their needs, wants, and desires are met. Okay, let's talk about this. We all have the right to choose who supports us, pick where and who we live with, determine how we spend our time, have the opportunity for employment, and decide how we spend our money. If individuals can choose these things, they are determining the direction of their lives. The ability to support an individual's right to make those crucial life decisions often requires commitment, compassion, and skill. As families, we work with many different agencies that support our children. We should be asking ourselves, are their goals individualized or agency driven? So think back to like your IEPs and going through those transition IEPs. Are those goals individualized for them, or are we just checking those boxes? Ensuring federal regulations are met sometimes creates pressures for compliance on the surfaces rather than focusing on the choices for that individual. We need to individualize the greatest extent possible. So no copying a goal and pasting it over. Families can play a critical role in bringing the voice of the individual to the group and moving their desires forward when there are more complex disabilities involved. Okay, self-advocacy, what is it? It's the ability to speak up for yourself. It's the ability to identify your needs, communicate them clearly, and help others understand how they can support you. Self-advocacy is beneficial in all areas of life. My kiddo just had surgery a couple weeks ago, my 11-year-old that you guys saw in the first of the presentation. And the last surgery that we had, he actually woke up with two brain bleeds and it was traumatic. But this time going in, he was super, super scared. And for about a month before his surgery, we talked about it and talked about it. And, you know, what do you want, Jameson? What do you want to see done? Um, and after like a week before we went in for surgery, he finally was able to tell me he doesn't like to have the mask on when he goes to sleep. It scares him. He would rather have a shot in the arm and be asleep before he went down to the surgery room. So having him be able to tell me that, I mean, you guys, the hospital experience was phenomenal, phenomenal. My team knew that he wanted to advocate and they were to ask him all the questions, what he wanted. And just to come so far, yes, he's only 11, but he was able to determine how his hospital stay went at that point. Um, so we can go into some of these resources that we um, that are out there that we can, tap into. We'll just kind of go through these really quick. Some of you may have heard of some of these. If not, write them down, look into them. Great resources to have. If you guys need those too, I can put them in the chat later. Sorry, I kind of went through those pretty fast. Okay, so little ways we all can advocate. We all start at a young age, just like giving the story about my son and advocating at the hospital for his surgery. I also make him attend his IEP meetings. Yes, he's maybe not old enough or comfortable enough to present to the team, but he writes down on paper what he would like to see for the year, what goals he wants to achieve, and that's how he can participate. But we participate in many ways, Are you hungry? Yes or no? Are you comfortable? Do you like your clothes? Do you want to change plans? Sometimes we think advocacy is big and hard, but actually we advocate for ourselves every day in small ways. We can learn advocacy by speaking up about the things that we would like to change. The more we practice, the easier advocacy becomes. Every time we advocate, we have the ability to educate someone. So Jameson was able to educate to his doctors, hey, we don't have to ask mom and dad. We can ask the child. We can ask the self-advocate what he wants. Practice speaking up. You and your family have important experiences that are valuable, and people need to hear your story. You can practice telling your story to your family and friends until you are more comfortable sharing it with others. Identify your needs and learn how to explain them. Your opinions do matter. Focus on your needs first and then transition to your wants and desires. All right, we're not going to go through this. It is a great clip though. If you guys get a minute, so this is it's a song that's in The Greatest Showman. And Cass, if you can you put that into the chat? Again, I cry every time I watch this. It is absolutely phenomenal. She starts off really soft, kind of scared, not really sure about herself. And at the end of the song, she's just belting it and just absolutely like she is just shining. So this is a great example of how it can start off, but then where we can end up at the same time. Okay, so where do we start when we start talking about self-advocating? So we need to get to know who we are. This is in our transition book that we have at the Parent Center. Kind of go through it. There's lots of little worksheets in there too, I guess I should say, but filling this out. Think about what you're good at and what you struggle with too. So in the purple sections in our books, we do talk about like self-advocating, finding yourself, where to start that whole self-advocacy journey. These resources are a great way for caregivers to work with their youth and to help them discover their strengths and what advocacy means to them. So skills and strengths are things that you enjoy or things that you're good at. Some strengths are easier to talk about, like maybe art or dancing. Um, while others are maybe a little bit more harder to describe, like being friendly or having the ability to focus on a task for very long. But when you get to know those strengths, it is super important. When you understand that you're good at it, it can also help you find opportunities in school, social settings, and even find a job. Okay, another portion of our purple section. This one describes the disclose and accommodation. So what is disclosure? So disclosure means that you're sharing information about yourself, like telling someone about your disability. You get to decide when and how much you want to share. So when might you disclose something like that? So if you're needing an accommodation, so something special to help or make an adjustment so that you can work, when applying for a job or attending college, even traveling, you can ask for accommodations or adjustments. There are times you might choose to tell someone about your disability so you can receive those supports that you do need. Accommodations are available, again, for work, school, and even travel. Thanks to the disability rights movement, people with disabilities now have the legal right to receive accommodations. And we'll discuss that more later on in the slides. Okay, Um, so this is another section in our book that we talk about. So this one kind of describes like what are my disabilities and how can I explain what they are? Because that's kind of hard sometimes, even like for my kiddos. And that can vary for them from day to day. You know, maybe their seizures are acting up, and so, you know, we're struggling more with some of our cognitive abilities and stuff like that. And other days they're not. So this is a super important part. So this is, like I said, another page in our purple section of our youth transition book to kind of help you navigate that. Okay, we're going to talk about community mapping and what that is. So the first step in our community mapping, so this we can also call this a relationship map in the person-centered planning. It helps you identify your support group. So who's going to be in your little network to help you get through making decisions or maybe helping you get to where you want to go. So the first one there in that little box, you're going to start by writing your name in the center of the red box. Around it, you're going to list the people closest to you. These are ones that you see daily, like your family, your friends, teachers. And don't forget to talk to or to include people that you talk to often. So maybe it's your neighbors, your coworkers. And then step two, now you're going to think about the people you see a few times a month or a week. These might be people from your hobbies, places you shop, clubs you go to or belong to, or even your church. If you volunteer somewhere, include some of those people too. Okay, three, lastly, the professional supports to the third level. These are agencies or people who help you now or can help you with your future goals, like Voc Rehab, DSPD, medical professionals like doctors, therapists, or counselors. By completing this activity, you'll have a clearer picture of who is in your support network. And it's kind of fun to see too. Like we did this with my son, and he was shocked to see how many people he actually knew and how many people actually cared about his well-being. Okay, so now still part of the purple section, we're going to talk about advocacy. So this next section, we'll talk about advocacy and how family, teachers, peers, caregivers, and your community can support you. Your self-advocacy, where self-advocacy is an individual speaking for themselves, advocacy is representing someone else. So for example, a parent can advocate for the youth at an IEP meeting if needed. One thing that is often overlooked in transitioning from youth to adulthood is advocacy. Yet it is crucial to future successes of our youth. If they are able to state they are able to state where they struggle, where their strengths are, what they need, it's a big indicator of that future success. So family advocacies and families being part of that advocacy process and transition process makes a huge difference in the lives of our youth. Um, you don't have to do it alone. You can include, like we talked about before, the families, the teachers, your medical team, your friends, neighbors, government officials. As we talked about in the previous slide, it is important to know who those people are and how they can help you learn to advocate for yourself and to help you advocate if you're not ready to do that quite yet. So families, you can come in and help them and model that for them. Okay, parents and families are often their child's voice, especially in early life. Just like I said, you know, with my son before, I had to do all the advocating. I was so happy when he could finally tell me what he was scared of and we were able to fix it. As parents, we know our kids the best. Trust yourself, trust your instincts. Um, yeah, make sure that you use your voice to advocate for them. If you've got that mom gut sick feeling about something, please speak up. But when they grow up and they start learning that, it is important to give them as much of a voice as possible when it comes to their decisions about their life. As an advocate for a young adult, the Utah Parent Center can help connect you guys, your families, your self-advocates with those resources that you need in taking those first wonderful steps. All right, let's talk about the duty of care. So, what is the duty of care versus the dignity of risk? Duty of care means the responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of others, either by law or by moral obligation. The dignity of risk. So, your dignity of risk refers to a person's right to make their own decisions, even if there's some risk involved. With creativity, people with disabilities can have more independence by managing risks. Tools like adaptive technology, assistive equipment, and monitoring can help reduce the chance of harm while allowing people to stay independent. We all make mistakes. They need to also have that dignity of risk to make those mistakes. Why are these important in our advocacy world? So in advocacy, it's important to find a balance between duty of care and that dignity of risk. Everyone has the right to be safe and cared for, but also the right to take risks to learn and grow. However, sometimes the need for safety might outweigh that potential risk. So there are some times where we do have to step in and make sure they are okay, online, financially, being taken advantage of from friends, type of thing. How do we teach our children to advocate for themselves? So this is a process that doesn't happen overnight. It does take time. If we model good advocacy, our children will learn from us. The transition age is the perfect time to develop and display that advocacy skill. So from 14 up is when we consider that transition age to start. Let your youth take the lead as much as possible with your guidance. So again, maybe it's we start off with the IEP meetings and it's just typing up something that they would like to see for their school year and either reading it to the team or having you read it to the team. That is a way to start advocating for themselves. And then maybe, within a couple of years, they're actually leading their own IEP meeting. So they're just baby steps. Okay, what are some ways that they can communicate? They can communicate so many different ways. Like I said, my son liked his paper to bring to his team and he was able to read it to him. But a key part of that self-determination and self-advocacy is making sure a person's wishes and desires are heard. So today there's many ways of communication and technology that can play a big role in that. So the Utah Center for Assistive Technology can assess communication needs and recommend tools from simple to advanced ways of communicating. Many people use sign language, while others may say yes or no to questions or pointed options on a choice board to express their needs. It's important to be creative and to keep trying different methods and always seek ways to improve that communication. We've got to make sure we give them that technology so that they can have a voice. So here's some strategies off to the side. So voicing it, signs, pointing, videos, choice cards or choice boards, eye gazing, pictures, blinking, yes, no questions, and then partner assisted scanning. So as youth are learning to advocate for themselves, it's important for youth and for their caregivers to listen carefully and try to understand the other person. I always say to my son, if I'm understanding correctly, you're trying to tell me. And then he'll be able to say yes or no, because sometimes it is a little bit difficult for him to get everything out that he's trying to. But at least if I voice it back to him and tell him if I'm understanding correctly, then I can make sure that I am understanding what he is trying to tell me. Validate their feelings. Let them know that you did hear them and repeat back what they said. Ask questions to get clarity. Share key information the other person may not know. So maybe if I knew something that he didn't quite know yet, I could give that information to him. Express your concerns and feelings through I statements. For example, like, I feel or I am concerned that you haven't ate today. Look for the signs of where you may need to make a change. So all form of behavior is a form of communication. So if you are seeing some of those behaviors, they're trying to communicate to you. So let's help them try to figure that out. Prioritize needs and start with, one thing at a time. Find supports from others with similar needs. So maybe you know somebody who has a self-advocate in that same age. and maybe that you've talked to them before and they've gone through similar stuff like that. Reach out. The Utah Parent Center has a workshop on communication if you guys are interested in improving your communication skills. I think we actually have a couple now. If you go to our events tab on our website, you'll be able to go down and scroll through the month to see when we are holding that communication class next. Okay, so tools for advocacy. So if verbal communication is difficult or not possible, there are other options for expressing yourself. Part of advocacy is to help you find and use your voice, but that doesn't always have to be done through speaking. Advocacy doesn't always have to be face to face or in a big group, but find the method that works best for you and your self advocate. So there's some little more ideas of how you guys can advocate. When and where would we need to advocate? So advocacy can take place anywhere. At your home, at school, out in the community, work, doctors, hospitals. Advocacy can take place with friends and even family members. It's like growing a big garden. You plant the seeds and then it takes some time for the seeds to take root and then bloom. So some of the things we want to change might take a while, but eventually will lead to bigger changes. We have to be patient and persistent because change can take time. It's important not to give up or get discouraged. Voting is an easy way to advocate, especially right now. Voting is an easy way to get involved. Voting can protect our most fundamental rights, and it gives us a say in who represents us. If you're 16 or 17 years old, you can pre-register to vote. If you pre-register, you will automatically be registered to vote when you turn 18. To vote in an election year, you must be 18 years of age on or before the day of that election. You can learn more about how to vote in your area or track your ballot and learn about candidates using um, the link down below. I think Castle put that in there for you guys. There's an annual Disability Advocacy Day, which is today, and that's why we're up here at the Capitol. If you want to learn more about it or how to advocate for your elected official, you can contact us and we'd be happy to help you guys with that. All right. With all that we've learned, there's still so much more that we need to do. Um, is there any reason to stop fighting for disability rights? Absolutely not. Again, that's why we're here today. Have all of our needs been met? No. I would say that when we definitely, I would say that we have definitely come a very long way in the right direction, but we're not done. There are many more things that we need to continue to fight for and to advocate for. So, equality efforts continue. We still need to continue these things in our public schools and our housing, access to buildings and transportation, and of course, employment, inclusion at schools, being able to get on and off the bus, basic accessibility to housing, schools, stores, doctor's offices, post offices. I mean, anywhere. We can do better at. So let's take a minute. Oh, we're not going to watch this one. This is another short little clip. It talks about advocacy. I'm going to have Cass put that link in there when you guys have time. I would watch it. Okay, so let's go to setting rules and home community-based services. So um, setting the rules was issued in 2014. It promotes community integration for people with disabilities. It focuses on giving individuals more control over their lives, including where they live, who they live with, how they earn their money, and how they get to spend their time. So this rule helps ensure people with disabilities have the same rights to make choices and interact with communities. The HCBS settings rules make sure that federal funds are used correctly with hope and helps people with disabilities enjoy the freedom and independence of the community life. What's next? Think about what rights may still need to be advocated for within society. Inclusion efforts in schools and communities, funding for disability programs, and the DSPD wait list. Transportation is another big one, but these are just a few. So, if we talk about the 2025 legislative session, so obviously everybody knows that it started, it's going on right now. This is a great opportunity for you to communicate with your legislators about the bills that are important to you and your family. Um, some of the bills that you might see, up at the Capitol right now. So, supported decision making versus guardianship, DSPD wait list, um, some of those others that we see on, time and time and again, especially with our executive order that was just put out last week as well. Okay, so how do you find your legislator? We'll go ahead and add this to the chat. If you guys aren't familiar with it, you can go to this website. You can enter in your street address in the first field and then your zip code in the second field and click find. You may also click on the map to determine who your state senator and House representatives are for that location, or you can contact your county clerk for official legislative district information. You can also go to the Disability Law Center's public policy page, and you can see all the disability related issues coming up for the session. Okay, so ways to sorry, hang on to that. Okay, yep. The following tips are provided by the Utah Developmental Disabilities Council, or the UDDC, to help you advocate for yourself and your loved ones when talking to legislators. So, first thing, make an appointment. You can call your legislator or their staff. Be clear and concise. Introduce yourself, mention where you're from, and say what you would like to discuss. If you have a specific day in mind, mention it. Ask if they can meet with you and note the details of the meeting, including how to connect with them on that day. Is it going to be a phone call? Are you going to come into the office? Um, Two, so between the meetings, you can find the legislator's schedule at le.utah.gov. If they're in a meeting, click which room it's in. If you can't enter or don't feel comfortable, just wait outside until the meeting is over. Sometimes they'll be able to talk to you as they're going down to their next meeting. Send a note. So via pages. So a page is someone who can deliver messages to the legislators. In your note, include your name, mention if you live in their district, and explain the bill or issue you would like to discuss. You can also ask for a few minutes to talk or request future meeting. Be prepared to briefly explain just the points. You can always send a letter, send an email, same thing, clear message, make it brief, facts, data, maybe a personal story, mention the issues and possible solutions. They would love to hear solutions. And if you want to continue the conversation, provide your contact information and let them know how to follow up with you. Um, so issues in the government, what to talk about. So issues that you want to fix, ideas that you have to make that situation better, concerns you and your friends or family have to do with your neighborhood, and then how to find out. So, we've got ways, resources of like the newspapers, TVs, social medias, or your own personal experience. So at the meeting, know your message, be direct and truthful, take written comments, a fact sheet, or other materials to leave with them. Ask for their support. If you live in their legislative district, say so. And also respect their time. They are very, very busy, so stick to the time that you have been allotted. Share your position. Legislators want to hear from regular people, not just lobbyists. Tell them how the bill will affect you and your family. They like stories, short ones. Um, don't always say that you agree with one party or the other. In fact, don't even bring up parties. Leave that out. Be polite and professional. Do not express anger or threats towards legislators. Do not criticize or insult other people or legislators. And do not question why someone said or did something. Okay. We're going to go ahead. Cass, if you'll put that bill tracker in there, you can also get a hold of it at the DLC, and then the Utah State Legislator website as well. Um, Important takeaways. So, disability rights and its histories are important to learn. If you guys get a minute, Google that Willowbrook and grab a box of tissues and learn how far we have come. Self-advocacy, what it means speaking up for yourself. Advocacy is helping other family members or friends find their voice. And then using your voice can change lives. Real quick, oops, I want to go back. Real quick, so this is our TU Tuesdays. So once a month, we go through and talk about different transition areas. So this month, we will be talking about transition IEP, graduation options, and what happens after high school. And then if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Email our websites there. We would love to answer any questions that you guys have.
Okay, Natasha, we have a couple comments in the chat, so let me just read those to you. Um, so when you were talking about your child advocating for themselves, one of our comments was, this is kind of bothering me because I have a child that cannot indicate choices of any kind.
Mhm,
He has an AAC, but it's not really reliable at this time.
mhm.
So he may hit a button to request something, but then get mad when he gets it because it's not really what he wanted.
Right.
And so, and that's not true for everyone. Um, but it just as a subset group of people with disabilities, they feel a little kind of excluded because there's not that self-advocacy piece. So do you have any comments or ideas for that? And Megan, was your comment in response to that? Okay. And so Megan may have some ideas as well. So I'll let you hit it, Natasha.
I'm actually working with a family right now where he does have an AAC device, and it's really working with the team on finding maybe that AAC device isn't for him. Maybe it is pictures and really trying every aspect. Having, and your child may have been evaluated by the assistive technology team, but if not, there's so many other options that we can try. And honestly, it's just right now it's a trial and error to see what will work for them. Megan, what were some of the options that you were going to have or going to mention?
Oh, I was just she sorry, lights went out. She mentioned that she felt a little lonely, and so I was just recommending that maybe she look at some parent support groups too that maybe have some similar diagnoses that could be helpful.
Absolutely. That's a great one. If you get a hold of the Parent Center or Utah Family Voices project can probably help you out with that too. Thanks, Megan.
All right. Oh, Katie's got a questions about completing the DSPD intake paperwork. Who's the best person or resource to reach out to help with that DSPD paperwork?
You can call the Utah Parent Center and they can connect you with the project that can help you out with that. There's a couple different people right now. There's some internal changes going on, but we do have several people that can walk you through that.
I meant to send that to everyone. I am putting the parent center number in the chat right now.
Thanks,
I
Cass.
think I remember. There we go. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Comments?
I'm so sorry, you guys. We whizzed through this. This is actually a really long workshop, but we had to condense it. So
We did. So I will just remind everybody, Natasha, I know there's a self-advocate event at the Capitol following this. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And then I'll just mention the
absolutely.
LCPD thing.
Perfect.
So,
So it's actually going on right now. So we're here from 1 to 4 we have our youth advisory board up here and they are advocating for themselves and what they feel they need and asking for. Right now more than ever, we need to make sure that we advocate for our special, sorry, told myself I wasn't going to cry. Um, we need to make sure that we advocate and we let them know that we are here and we have voices. At 2 o'clock we're going to start our rally. So our rally will be from 2 to 3. We're going to have some self-advocates speaking and some parents will also get up and speak about their experiences. And then at 3 o'clock, we will be touring the Capitol from 3 to 4. And then just kind of a clean up and kind of hang out and mingle. Would love to see anybody who can come.
And 4:30 to 6 in the Capitol Rotunda will be the Legislative Coalition for People with Disabilities reception. So it's a great time to be able to come up and network with other organizations, perhaps meet legislators, probably their staff will be there. So it give you a great opportunity. It's great for us to all show up, show our support, show why we are needing these services and how we can all work together. So that's great. We do have about 4 extra minutes. So I am going to go ahead and release you back into the main room. There are some more. Well, I'm going to type my email address right here in this chat one more time. And if you are needing information or needed connections that you did not get off the chat, please feel free to email me. I am happy to help facilitate you getting those resources. Thank you, Megan. Okay, everybody, I will close this room and we will head back into the main room.
All right, Cass, I'm gonna hop off. I've got to walk around the Capitol to go get to where I'm going. Okay. Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.